Music Man.
Welcome to Relationship Soup. I'm your host, Lisa Hughes. Happy Tuesday. How y'all doing today? How's your Tuesday? How was your weekend? Did you all have a wonderful weekend? I did. This week is off to a fantastic start. I really can't complain. Life is blowing me kisses. You know what I mean? So anyway, thank you so much for joining me on today. We have a fantastic episode, a dynamic guest, and I cannot wait to delve into his story. I mean, I think it's remarkable. It's all that. All right. So we're going to get to that in a minute. But anyway, thank y'all so much for pulling up tonight. Now, y'all know I got to say, I'm going to do my spiel. I'm going to do all of that, right? We got some stuff we got to give away tonight. We got some good stuff lined up. Okay. So listen, I want to thank all of y'all for pulling up, right? So whether you are watching us live on YouTube or on Facebook or catching us on a replay, and that's all good. I see you, I love you, and I appreciate you, right? So thank you so much. Also, right now, listen, don't roast me, all right? Because I know I should have been on it a long time ago, but y'all know what I'm gonna say. Okay, let me start out. So on YouTube, y'all already know it's Relationship Soup. Period. You got to put the period in there. If you don't put the period, listen, you're going to be somewhere else, right? If you want to follow us there, go ahead and do that. If you want to join the group, it's RelationshipSoupGroup. If you want to follow me, it's RelationshipSoupLLC. And then, of course, the website. Look, I actually have some greeting cards here. I know I said that I was going to bring on the entire collection, but these are the Christmas cards, right? So check them out. You know what I mean? Check us out because we have greeting cards for all of your needs. Holidays, occasions, all that. Check us out. And that one is www.relationshipsoup.com. And y'all check this out. We are on TikTok. Okay, that's why I said don't roast me. We should have been on TikTok. Well, we was kind of on TikTok, but listen, we back. We are active. We getting that thing out. It's going to be great. So follow us on TikTok and it's under Relationship Soup. All right. So that should be pretty simple. We're Relationship Soup across all platforms, right? All right. And I see that you all are joining me. I'm seeing the comments, but let me put this up here first. Now, if you want to join us live in this studio, hit this link right here. It's actually on YouTube and it's on the Facebook chat as well. So if you want to join us live in the studio, you don't have to come on. I already got my guests. But if you want to come in here live and just kind of chill out, it's room for you. So just hit that link and follow the prompts. Cool? All right. All right. So I do see your comments. Let me see here. Thank you so much for joining me, Jay Desiree. How you been? How's your Tuesday? How was your weekend? Did you do anything interesting over the weekend? That's what's up. All right, so cool. All right, so y'all, let me get into this 89th episode. This one is entitled, Are You Kidding Me? Right? And it's a journey of survival and sacrifice. This episode is, when I spoke to the guest previously, I'm telling you, it really touched my heart. Like it was really amazing. Just his story, his plight. And I actually know people who have dealt with kidney disease and stuff like that. I actually have a really good friend who she had a transplant and she is doing extremely well now. So, I'm really excited to tell this story. My guest, his name is Larry Jones. He's an author and he is an advocate for the National Kidney Foundation, right? And so he's going to talk to us about how he overcame kidney failure and he actually received a transplant from his own son. How amazing is that? His own son was able to give him a kidney, y'all. Telling you this is going to be an amazing story. So anyway, without further ado, let me go ahead and bring on Mr. Jones because I want to be respectful of his time. And you already know, by 8 o'clock, you already know I'm going to be hungry. So anyway, let me go ahead and bring on Mr. Larry Jones. Hi, Larry. How are you?
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me to the conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So along the way, Larry, I don't know if you were able to kind of see a couple of the episodes. My listeners, they will be commenting as well. They'll have questions and stuff too. So we'll just kind of mix them in there so they'll feel special,
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right. Awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this. So Larry, take us back to the beginning. When did you first realize that something was wrong with your kidneys?
Okay, sure. The surprising thing about chronic kidney disease, it kind of sneaks up on you. You don't, there are no symptoms. You don't know what's going on in the first three stages. We'll get into that a little bit later. But in January of 2022, I went in for a routine physical because I was feeling, well, I just returned from a wonderful vacation. Let me say that on New Year's. But I had woke up one morning and I felt some numbness in the left side of my mouth and two of my fingers on my left hand. My daughter, who is she's a physician, she's a pediatrician, she said, "Dad, you may have had a stroke." And I was like, "No, I don't think I had a stroke. Besides, I'll be back in the country tomorrow, and I don't want to go to a doctor in a foreign country." So when I got back to the States, I scheduled an appointment with my primary care physician. And this would have been around January 20th or so of 2022, thinking I'm just going in for a routine physical and to find out if I indeed had a stroke. So they ran the tests, and my primary physician said, "Something's not right. Let's run these tests again." Like, "I want to send you to a neurologist to see if you did have a mini stroke, but I don't know. I don't think that's the case. It's possible, but I don't think that's the case. But there's something going on with your kidneys. I want you to schedule an appointment with a nephrologist." Like, a nephrologist? Like, I came here to find out if I had a stroke or not.
Right.
So he's like, "No, Larry, I want you to really see this nephrologist." So I scheduled an appointment with the nephrologist. I got in there probably a week after that, for the end of January. And they ran the tests and found out that my kidneys were functioning at less than 15%, which means that you're in kidney failure and you need a transplant or dialysis to survive. I was shocked because I was like, you're kidding me. You can't be talking to me. And again, that's why I entitled my book, "Are You Kidding Me?" Because this disease kind of comes out of nowhere. But once I settled in, or let me say this, once I digested that information and got over the surprise, I had to start dialysis right away. So I started dialysis I got the official diagnosis in March because they ran the test a couple more times. This is March of 2022. And I started dialysis in May of 2022. That's the beginning of the story. That's how this disease kind of sneaks up on you
Wow.
if you're not getting checked regularly, by your doctor, getting this blood test or urine test. So.
Okay, yeah, that was going to be my next question, because it sounds like it was silent, like you weren't given, well, you did not experience, a lot of symptoms other than what you mentioned. So, and so they were able to test you through blood and urine. Is that something that you have to like ask for, or is that kind of part of a routine visit?
Well, when you're getting a normal physical, you usually do this 8-panel blood test where they, look at your glucose levels, things like that. But I would mention it to my doctor to say, I'm saying, giving advice to those folks out there listening, to say like, hey, can you check my kidney function? It's a simple test. It's either done by blood or by urine. So if you take a urine test and you realize that there's too much protein in your urine, that's a sign that there's something possibly wrong with your kidneys.
Okay.
Then when you follow up with a blood test and you find out that, there's creatinine, which is a byproduct of protein, it shows that there's something wrong because the kidneys regulate all of that. So so a primary care physician, you'll know. I mean, assuming that they take the standard 8-panel test.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay. All right. So, how did you approach your son about, or how did it go when it came to speaking to your son about donating his kidney? Like, what was that talk like? Like, how did that come about?
Well, here's the process. So, again, you need a kidney transplant or dialysis to survive. So the deceased donor list, which is what most people tend to participate in, is a very crowded list. There's over 90,000 people on the deceased donor list.
Oh my goodness.
And there are only about 25,000 to 27,000 donations made through that deceased donor list every year. So once I was on dialysis, you have your social worker kind of working with you, and you're trying to get listed on the deceased donor list, which isn't that easy because it's, you have to meet certain criteria. You have to not have any other comorbidities, or you can't be over a certain weight. You have to be healthy otherwise. So that was the first process. So part of that process of getting listed on the deceased donor list, you have to have a support group. So you talk to the social worker at the various centers. Here in Maryland, there are 2 hospitals that do transplants. So not every hospital does transplants.
Okay.
So when I was talking to Johns Hopkins Hospital, which is here in Baltimore, Maryland, they said, okay, well, we need to have a conference call with your support list, because when you're on the deceased donor list, you can get a call in the middle of the night. You have to get there because they can only keep these deceased donors on ice for about 3 to 4 hours. So you've got to be within you got to get to the hospital in 2 hours. They can keep them on ice for about 24 hours, maybe 48 hours. So part of that, so I'm on the phone call. I have my daughter and my son as my support group, saying that, yeah, in the event that we get the call in the middle of the night, that we're going to drive him to the hospital, and we're going to be there after the surgery to make sure he takes his medicine and all that kind of stuff. And so, again, the call is to be informative, but as I often joke now, I say the call was really there to scare the bejesus out of me and my family, because it's like, but anyway, to my total surprise, well, again, let me back up a little bit. So I started dialysis in May. I started thinking about the deceased donor list in May right away. I wasn't scheduled to have this call with the social worker until October of that same year. So this is 5 months later. My children knew about my disease, but I was saying, hey, I'm going to wait and see if I get on the deceased donor list, which on average in Maryland and nationwide is about 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
Assuming everything else goes right. Yeah. So again, it's a very crowded list, and not everybody even qualifies to get on the list. All right. Fast forward back to October. To my surprise, at the end of the call, my son said, well, can I be tested to see if I can be a match? And I tell you this, Lisa, it didn't matter if he was a match or not. I was just so filled with gratitude that It's still hard to kind of talk about, but
Mhm.
so yeah, that was that. And
Mhm.
so that process started where, first of all, he has to do blood tests to make sure that he's healthy.
Mhm.
Um, and then you have to match. There are people who are willing to donate, but they don't match either for blood type, or they may have high blood pressure or some other disease that they weren't aware of, because they only do live transplants on people who are extremely healthy. And
Okay.
it's an arduous process. I mean, they ask you questions like, are you sure? Are you being compensated? Are you being,
Mhm.
intimidated to do this? So I mean, they really want to be sure that this is something you really want to do.
Mhm.
But anyway, so that's kind of how he came to me, like, okay, Pops, I would like to do this. And the testing process started. So,
Okay. Wow. Okay. So, um, you kind of touched on this, but what was the hardest for you physically and mentally when it came to the transplant process? The hardest part for you?
well, I would guess that maybe everybody, or at least a lot of people, know someone who's been on dialysis.
Mm-hmm.
Dialysis is a really tough process. What dialysis does is it acts as sort of a mechanical kidney. And
Mm-hmm.
so what the kidneys do, the kidneys are the body's filters and regulators.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
the kidneys filter your blood, cleaning out toxins, excess water, excess sodium. They
Mm-hmm.
also regulate your heartbeat. They regulate your electrolytes like phosphorus, iron, calcium, all of these things. So the what dialysis does, in my case, I was going to dialysis 3 times a week,
Mm-hmm.
every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I was on this machine for 3.5 to 4 hours every day. So what they're doing is they're pumping your blood out of your body into a dialysis machine
Mm-hmm.
and returning it back into your body. And they're removing this excess water and, again, sodium and other things out of your body. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine, just on average, most people, they never take off more than 3 kilometers, which would be 6 pounds. I mean, kilograms, I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
3 kilograms, which is 6 pounds. So imagine sweating or losing that much water in a 3 to 4 hour period. You're
Oh.
just fatigued. So this is why people on dialysis are very tired,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like doing 3 hours worth of exercise without sweating. And so, um, but so it's accelerated. But a normal working kidney, like for healthy folks, your kidneys are filtering your blood 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you don't even feel it. You don't even realize it. And what the kidneys do is, again, this is sort of a biology lesson for a little, but the human body has about 1.5 gallons of blood.
Mm-hmm.
And the kidneys filter about, I mean, your heart is constantly pumping. You're in the circulatory system. So your kidneys are filtering like roughly about 50 gallons of blood a day.
Mm-hmm.
And what the kidneys do is it removes the toxins and excess water and sends it to your bladder, and you pee it out. So a person pees out about 2 quarts a day, or a half a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the blood goes back and just kind of circles in the circular system. So again, this is sort of it's a miracle invention, but it's only doing 10 to 15% of what a normal healthy kidney would be doing. So
Wow.
it's kind of rough on your heart, and over time, most folks end up dying on dialysis.
Oh,
So a
wow.
transplant is crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so again, back to the thing, it's just physically draining, and the longer you stay on dialysis, the harder it is on your body. Um, but again, if you qualify to be on the transplant, which I was fortunate enough to do, um, there's just this excitement, this anticipation, this nervousness. You hope that the surgery goes well. You don't want anything to happen to your donor, which in my case was my son.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just such it's like it's like a second chance at life. It's like a chance to start all over again. And so I vow that if I survived, if my son and I survived this operation, that I would do anything that I could to help those patients that are still suffering with this disease, and to create awareness to those of you who are still healthy, to try to avoid some of the mistakes that I made and that others have made. So,
what are some of those mistakes, would you say?
Well, the number one cause of kidney failure is diabetes. That represents about 44% of the new cases. The second highest cause is hypertension or high blood pressure, which is about 28%. So you look at those two chronic diseases, and that's roughly almost 75% of the cases. So diet and exercise, of course, are important. Smoking is a no-no. Because what diabetes does, and I didn't really realize this until I got sick, because that was really my thing. I thought I had this. I didn't realize I was diabetic until later. Because again, I wasn't overweight. I exercised right. I exercised. I thought I was eating right. But you start to notice little changes, and you start thinking, well, I'm just getting older. I'm a little more tired than I used to be, or I'm going to the bathroom more than I used to, or I'm thirsty more than I used to be. All these are symptoms of diabetes. But what diabetes does is that your pancreas releases insulin that takes the glucose in your body, or it opens the cells so that the glucose can go into your cells for quick energy. When you're diabetic, your pancreas doesn't create enough insulin, or your body becomes insulin resistant. So that excess glucose / sugar, anything that ends in "-ose" is a fancy word to say sugar, is floating around in your blood. So imagine your kidneys having to filter this blood. So it's almost, maybe a little exaggeration, but it's like, I don't know, washing your dishes with syrup as opposed to washing it with clean water. So it starts to clog your blood vessels, your arteries, your capillaries, your veins. And so again, the kidneys are just struggling to filter this stuff, and it starts to clog it up. So that's a diabetic in a non-medical sense. I hope people get an understanding. High blood pressure is like constant pressure, like your heart is beating harder, and the more you beat a vessel, the harder it gets. So then you start getting harder and harder. But the arteries or filters within the kidneys are also getting harder and clogging up. So it doesn't filter things as a normal functioning kidney does. So, but those are two of the main causes. Now there are other causes. Some people have what's called polycystic disease, where your kidneys start growing multiple cysts, or there are children where people were born with kidney problems, or you can have lupus and have problems. But the majority of the cases are diabetes and high blood pressure.
Okay.
And so again, I want to add this to the U.S. population, according to the American Heart Association, 50% of Americans, 50% of American adults, meaning people over the age 20, have high blood pressure. Black Americans have around 55 to 58% of adult Black Americans have high blood pressure. And then again, with Blacks, we tend to have diabetes. So I think it's around 13% of Black / African Americans have diabetes. So it doesn't necessarily have to lead to kidney failure, but we really have to watch, our sugar intake and our sodium or salt intake, and have to exercise and keep our weight. Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, we do have a few comments. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring a few of these on, and then we'll get back to some questions. All right. Okay, thank you for joining us. Looks like somebody's saying hi, Uncle Larry. Do you recognize who that is?
I can't see, but hello. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Derek says, good evening, Derek. Thanks so much for joining us. And I see M. Woodson. Not okay, so it's mint condition this week. Okay, all right. Thanks so much for joining me, beautiful. Then we have Rasan Muhammad. Thank you so much for joining me. Listen, if you like that, sometimes you got to take a little hiatus. All right. And then Tonality, good evening, Lisa, Larry, and the Sue. All right. All right. So let me ask you this. Tell us about the moment you woke up after the transplant. Like, do you remember what your first thought was?
Thank you, God, was my first thought.
Amen.
It's a very long surgery for the recipient. So, first of all, my son had his surgery, which that surgery takes about 2 to 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
They've become very sophisticated with it. It's almost like a scope. They go in. It's kind of done with robotics. There's a minor incision right beneath the navel, and they go in and pull the kidney out that way.
Oh, wow.
So I'm there waiting because I want to make sure that my son is okay. But once they remove the kidney from the donor, they clean it up, prep it, and then it's the recipient's turn to go back. So the doctor comes out and say, hey, we've successfully removed the kidney. It's time for you to go back and prep. The recipient's surgery is a more intricate, detailed surgery. It takes about 4.5 to 5 hours. So I was blessed to have my younger sister there with me and my son to keep the rest of my family up to date on how I was doing. So I tell you, Lisa, I went back there at 3 o'clock. The next thing I knew, it was 9 o'clock at night. So I just woke up. I was like, oh, okay. And they were like, everything worked out. It's wonderful. We placed the kidney because they've got to, again, taking it out is a lot, well, I wouldn't say easier, but it's not as detailed as inserting the kidney and attaching it to my veins and arteries and all that other stuff. So, so yeah, just feeling really grateful that this worked. And because what happens with kidney failure is you lose the ability to urinate. You know, I was one of the fortunate ones where I could still pee a little bit, but once my son's, and he was 31 years old, this happened, you know, I just celebrated my 2.5-year anniversary. So he was 31 years old. So I have this new young kidney that's fired up and ready to go. And so it's removing all this excess stuff that I've been carrying around for, at least to my knowledge, 1.5 years, but probably longer than that. So it's like, you know, the catheter is just filling up with all of this excess waste. And so you just automatically start to feel better. The brain fog kind of disappears. My sister said, oh, Larry, your skin is looking good again. Your eyes are clearing up. It's just immediate that, you know, so again, you're just so thankful and grateful. And yeah, so yeah, that was the initial thought.
Okay. All right. So tell us about your book. Like, what was it, this journey that mainly inspired you to write it? Like, would you pretty much say that that's what inspires you to write it? Or like, what was the motivation to write your book?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that question, Lisa. You know, going into my dialysis center every other day, or tri-weekly, I'll say, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you get to know the people that are there. So I'm sitting next to a woman who was 54 years old, had been on dialysis for 27 years.
Oh my gosh.
Sitting next to another guy, had been on dialysis 10 years. The dialysis centers, they tend to work on shifts. So, you know, I was on the early shift, that's sort of 5:30 in the morning to 11 o'clock in the morning. There are about 25 patients per shift. Then the next shift comes in from 12, you know, they stagger the shifts. So you start to see these same 20, 25 people every day. So I'm seeing people come in there with amputated limbs due to diabetes. I'm seeing people who are blind because of diabetes, or, you know, amputated feet because of high blood pressure, whatever. And I just thought if I can tell our story, because some of these people, unfortunately, will never leave
Right.
this dialysis center. And the other thing, when you go to the dialysis center, one of the first things you do is you have to weigh yourself. Because again, if your kidneys aren't removing this excess water, then you gain weight. You ever notice people have swollen ankles, swollen feet, puffy face?
Ankles, the puffy face. Yes, absolutely.
So when you first go to dialysis, you have to weigh yourself to see if you've gained weight in between that one day. So there are people who gain 6 pounds of weight or over a weekend, 10 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a scale at my dialysis center that you stood, there was a bulletin board right over the scale.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to see these death notices, like Mrs. So-and-so's funeral is next week, or Mr. So-and-so's funeral is blah, blah, blah. So all of that stuff sort of inspired me, like if I ever get out of here, I've got to tell this story. And I got to tell it while it's fresh. So I started writing my book. My surgery was May 4th, which I always say, May the 4th be with us.
I like that.
May 4th, 2023. And I started writing the book in September of 2023, while the memory was still fresh.
Mm-hmm.
It took me I'd say about 5 to 6 months to write it. And then the editing and publishing, probably took another 6 months. So it was released in February of this year. But yeah, that was the inspiration. I was like, I just can't, I guess I have somewhat of a survivor's remorse. And I just feel like I got to speak for these people. And I gotta warn people, like, this isn't something you want. If you can change your eating habits or diet, whatever, your exercise habits, please heed this warning. This is not something you want. You don't want this. I'm just one of the very fortunate ones. And so, again, I volunteer for the National Kidney Foundation, the American Kidney Fund, and also Infinite Legacy, which encourages organ donation, not only the kidneys, but liver, heart, tissue, cornea, eye, everything, because it's just so important. And the recipients could just never thank you enough for it, but so yeah, that's my way of staying inspired, and then getting this book to people who can just read about it and say, like, okay, hopefully it will inspire people to say, yeah, I'm gonna stay cognizant of my health. I'm gonna get a checkup, because again, I want to underscore this, and this is my personal experience. I had gotten so arrogant, I'll say, with my health, because I was a former college athlete, and I thought I was in good shape, and I ate well, I thought, and so I didn't have a primary care physician. I think the last time I had a primary care physician was in 2014. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
So the next time I went back to a doctor was like 2020.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went 2020. That's the 6-year gap, and then coming back, 2 years after that to find out, like, so this much can happen in 8 years if you're not on top of it, so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that message is so important. I've talked about my dad that passed away. He actually had like kidney stones, right? And my father was from the generation where he's like, look, I'm not going to no doctor. He despised doctors. And, that's one thing that he said in his final days. He's like, look, what I got from this, just go to the doctor, right? Yeah. Because, just things that they found out along the way. Well, if you just went to the doctor, if you'd gotten this checkup or whatever. I mean, I believe in divine timing and, things of that sort. When he said that, I said, I will carry that message on. I talk to my male friends like, y'all go on to the doctor, y'all. You know what I mean? Because I know that how that stigma is. So I'm so glad that you brought that to the forefront about the importance of going to the doctor to get it checked out. You know what I mean? And I get it. There's so much information out here. There's so many conspiracy theories. There's just different things that could kind of deter you from going to the doctor. But I think it's worth it. Get your blood checked. And even if you want to balance it, you know, one thing I do, I have a holistic doctor and then I have my medical doctor. So you know, the two work together, you know, so, you know, I absolutely love that message. And I see that there's some comments and questions for you. Are you okay with answering a couple of them?
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot them at me. Come on, let's go.
All right, let's get it. Okay. So this question, how does alcohol consumption affect your kidney?
Well, again, your kidneys filter your blood. All the blood in your body has to eventually come through your kidneys. So what alcohol tends to have a lot of sugar. And so alcohol can lead to diabetes. Not for everybody, but yeah, alcohol. And again, you know, beer, if it's a heavier beer, that gains weight, and any weight, you know, it's like walking around with extra weight. It's like putting more pressure on your pump, which is your heart. And again, like I said earlier, it starts to harden your arteries, and that can lead to high blood pressure. So, and again, your kidneys have like millions of, actually they're called nephrons, which are really like vessels. That's why a kidney doctor is called a nephrologist. But all of those nephrons are filters, which are, again, vessels, capillaries, whatever. So anything you do to clog those filters is going to hurt your kidneys. And just like you said, like kidney stones, that's a common thing for people to have. Kidney stones are really, it's something, because your kidneys are attached to your bladder through something called a ureter. So when those get clogged, then the waste that the kidney is trying to pass onto your bladder gets stuck. You've got like a rock in the, you know, and so you start to build up, and that's where all that pain is. They have to go in there and kind of move it out, you know, itself. But so yeah, anyway, I'm just saying all those type of things, and that a lot of kidney stones come from not being hydrated, not drinking water, to allow your kidneys to flush your body. So alcohol, despite being liquid, causes dehydration. So again, I'm not a doctor. This is just from personal experience and things like that. And speaking to doctors, yeah.
So look, the disclaimer's out there, right? Look, go to your medical doctor. Okay, we are just Larry's just telling his story. Definitely go to your doctor. Okay, so I just want to put that out there. It's in the caption and stuff, but you know, I'm just gonna put it on because I don't want to. No. Right. And I said it. Okay, so there are some more questions. Actually, we have one in the private chat. So Brian is saying, are there lifestyle changes or challenges you didn't anticipate post surgery?
I'd say I was pretty well informed because we're going into the transplant because they want to make sure that you and your donor are good candidates. So there's a lot of information. There are, again, most of us out here who aren't, you know, medical professionals, we're really operating on about our 10th grade biology, you know, information. But when something happens to you, you really start to dig in and study. So one of the things that is different about, because there is no cure for kidney failure. Even my fortunate circumstances really just a treatment. Transplant is the best treatment. Okay. But I really have a foreign object in my body. Yeah, my son is half mine. So half of my DNA thinks that this is me, but the other half is just like, that's a foreign object. So your white blood cells, which attack infection, will start attacking the kidneys. So as a kidney, as an organ recipient, whether it's a kidney, liver, or anything else, you have to take these immune suppression drugs. So your immune system doesn't see yourself as your non-self. And so that's why you have to kind of lower. So I do have to take these immune suppressant drugs for the rest of my life. But I was made aware of that. I don't think a lot of people that are on dialysis or haven't gone through the process of trying to get listed to be a recipient know that kind of information. I would say that. And then again, when you're on dialysis, you're limited to not drinking any more than 32 ounces per day of a liquid, That
Okay.
includes everything, anything that would melt.
Wow.
That means anything that would melt at room temperature. So you can't eat, ice, coffee, popsicles, any of that, because again, the water is not being eliminated like a normal functioning kidney. So then once you get a transplant, you've got to retrain yourself to drink at least, in my case, I drink at least 64 ounces of water a day,
Okay.
minimum, so the
Okay.
same stuff we heard in elementary school. Try to drink 8 glasses of
8
water.
glasses a day. That's even, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we do have some more comments out there and some more questions. Let's see here. I like to try to bring these on. Let's see. I saw where. So Mr. Jackson says, I just buried my daughter today. She has kidney failure. This is real. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson.
Sorry, Mr.
Wow.
Jackson.
Love and light and prayer to you and your family. Wow. Okay, so let's see here. Well, you kind of mentioned this. Are there dietary suggestions, social habits you would recommend, or habits to improve our health, with foods to avoid? I think you kind of mentioned that.
Yeah, I would just say be cognizant of what you're eating. For me right now, I don't usually eat anything that has more than 140 milligrams of sodium per serving.
Okay.
From a diabetic point of view, I try not to eat anything with more than 60 net carbs per meal. So there's some days where I may not eat, more than 20 carbs a day, but if you're eating 3 meals a day, that's 180 carbs. But again, you drink one soda pop, that's, and again, just because the can says per serving and you drink the whole can, but the whole can may have 3 servings, so you can be over 180, like that. But this is just for me. But I would just say, read packages, be cognizant of, like, just think of your body as having all of these rivers and streams, and that's what your blood vessels are, a bunch of rivers and streams. And if any of those things get clogged up, it's like, is this something my body can easily digest? Because if it doesn't, that means it's getting stuck in there and it's just trying to work its way through, and your heart's pumping harder and your kidneys are trying to get rid of it. And it's like, over time, like with chronic disease, they get worse over time. So yeah, what you can get away with at age 14, you're not going to be able to get away with at age 44.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been reading a lot. Like, I've gotten like certifications with, like herbs and holistic things and stuff like that. And, I've read a lot even about an alkaline lifestyle, right? And it seems like that lifestyle, the water intake, the spring water, and just the things that you eat, seems like that could be a complement to, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because you want to stay away from, ideally, you want to stay away from processed foods, because,
absolutely. Oh, yes.
I mean, it's, maybe most of the audience is kind of young for this, but, the way people used to preserve meat when they were hunting is, put a bunch of salt on it to make it last through the winter. But when you go to the grocery store, you see that same can of stuff that was there last year. It's like, how much sodium did they put in there to preserve it?
Absolutely.
So you kind of stay away from lunch meats and canned means, but again, you can rinse them off, but just, you would be shocked. Like a can of soup, I used to love progressive cans of soup. It's like over 1,000 milligrams per serving in a can of soup, and then probably 3 servings in the can. So, and just over time, you just starts to weigh. Again, I could get away with that when I was 25 or 30. It wasn't good, but anyway, I would just say, just be aware of that. Stay, most folks don't cook as much as they should, and you're just buying things, out. And I just pay attention to that kind of stuff if I were you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's one reason why I like to cook. Like, I like to know what's going into my food and stuff like that. But yeah, absolutely, cooking does seem better. Let me ask you this, Larry. So your book, right? Pen name. Okay.
Yes.
Just so that people can find you, find the book, because, I want them to be able to find it. So your pen name is L.J. McCoy, right?
Yes, my pen name or pseudonym is L.J. McCoy. So
just want to put that
came up with that because, and are they able to see the spelling of that? Well, yeah, I have it on my ID.
Yes, they can see this. And I'm going to repost it as well. I will post the link in the chat. Yeah, we'll post it in the chat so people can have it.
Yeah, but that's my pen name, which is sort of a play on my initials, Larry Jones, LJ, and McCoy, my hero. That's his name. That's his first name, McCoy Jones. So together we are LJ McCoy. You know?
That sounds like a superhero, right?
he is a superhero. Yes, he is a superhero.
Sounds like a superhero. Like, I might need to borrow that. Like, maybe I could feature you in one of my future children's books or something, because that's something.
And as you can see on the back of the book, that's a picture of that's a picture of him and myself. But yeah, and that was on the back of the book. That was the 1 week after my surgery. So again, for the recipient, I mean, for the donors, you know, obviously it's a personal decision, but they have come so far in medicine that my son basically checked himself out of the hospital in 2 days. He had to stick around a week just to make sure everything was okay. He picked his dog up from the corner and drove the 8 hours back to North Carolina and hasn't stopped since. You know, it's like, he's fine. It took me about 6 or 7 weeks to kind of start moving around all right. But this kid, and again, it depends on that. But all donors are healthy, you know. But a young, healthy person is really like, and a person, you easily can live with one kidney. It's like, again, when you think about because I'm a spiritual person, I think about God and nature, and it's like, you can live with one kidney. You have 2 kidneys. It's like you have this spare, and your other kidney will grow large enough to do the job of what 2 kidneys were doing, just automatically. Same thing with liver transplants. Like, when a donor gives a liver, they just cut a part of your liver off. Your liver grows back. Wow. And a new person has the liver, and that liver starts to grow. So it's just amazing it's amazing what we know in science, but it's amazing what we don't know. You know,
absolutely, it's amazing. The body is so resilient, because like I've always liked to study the body, like just studying the body and what does what. It's a miracle. It's amazing, and our bodies can be so resilient. Just even the kidney. I didn't know that about the kidney though.
Yeah,
you know, that's amazing. Okay, now this is what I want. I have a couple more questions. And we do have a giveaway tonight that we do need to get to, right? I could talk to you all night because this is such good information. I mean, your energy, this information, and thank you so much gratitude that you are sharing this with my audience, because it's needed. I actually go to the doctor this week and I'll be like, hey, do a little extra test for me.
Right.
So, what did you learn about yourself while writing this book?
Oh, yeah. That's a lot, because I think about the actual writing of the book, but I think about the dialysis process. It's really, again, my book really covers my experience from prognosis to transplantation. So that really is a roughly 2-3 year journey. And so I can't say that writing the book in itself brought that out, but this experience, including the book, was that I'm very resilient, and that I have a lot of appreciation for gratitude. I know that the key to I know that giving is the key that opens the door to receiving.
Yes.
So, not that I was a stingy person in the past, but I'm a lot more generous. I don't, like most young people, we're trying to make it in this world. I did a lot of things for profit. I had a successful business, and it was always, this, give me, or this. So yeah, I'm just a volunteer, but whatever I can do to help people. I guess it just kind of, like this, the way folks talk about, money, like it doesn't change you, it just enhances who you are. I think devastating diseases are, when you get hit with that humble health stick, it's the same thing. It's like it enhances or highlights who you really are. Some people, if you were a mean so-and-so before and you get sick, you'll be a mean so-and-so and mad at everybody. But if you're a gracious person, or I think you just realize like, okay, God has been good to me. It's time for me to start doing some of his work too. So that's just the way I feel, So.
I love that. I love that. And let's see here. So what message do you want families considering living donation to take away from your story?
Well, again, it's a personal decision, but it is, it's something to think about. I mean, again, with the organization Infinite Legacy that I work with, it's basically trying to get folks to, sign up on the back of your driver's license in the event of your untimely death. Because there's so many myths out there, or, misconceptions about, oh, if I die, if I get hurt in an accident, then they're going to try to kill me and take my organs. That's not the way that process works. But you've got to make it clear. So one way to make it clear is, sign the back of your driver's license. The other thing, if you have a will, just letting your family know. Nobody plans to die,
Right.
Certainly young people. It's like, but to just be left with, your grieving family members left behind, and having no idea that, you had a heart to give away. I saw, again, I participate with a lot of support groups. There was a beautiful story I just read yesterday, and a beautiful picture. This is I would say, close to elderly Black man. He probably was 60-ish. And, he received a heart transplant from the child of these two white parents who were probably 60-ish. So they're both laying their ear on his chest and they're crying, and they're smiling, but it's just grateful. So this had, the biology has really very little, if anything, to do with race. And so it's just like, well, we're all one. It's basically what I'm saying. But if you don't feel like that, that's fine. I'm not trying to lay a guilt trip.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's like, yeah, if you can give somebody a second chance, yeah. So, I mean, again, but again, just discuss your desires with your family. I mean, I think we, certainly as Black folks, but all Americans, we need to kind of put a will together. I mean, it's a lot for a family to deal with the death, and then not knowing what your wishes and desires were, just compounds the suffering and sorrow. So
absolutely, that definitely makes a difference, and I can attest. I ain't dead yet.
Right.
I'm just like when my father passed away, like they had everything pretty much in order. And then even after his passing, just the importance of a will. And, I even have another appointment with someone to just make sure that everything is what it needs to be, so I think that is very important in our communities to, take the initiative to have a will, to, put all that stuff in place. So we're not doing GoFundMes and, caught up in court, what is it, probate court, whatever, like, come on, let's go ahead and put all that together so that, the transition can be even smoother, because I mean, it's already a I'll just say a taxing experience, a grief-stricken experience. So why not make it easier for those that are still here, a little bit easier?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's going to be sorrow, but yeah, anything you can do to alleviate the pain and if you could save a life,
absolutely,
because nobody really plans to die, although we all know we're going to die. But yeah, there's a way to kind of, at least this part, saying, hey, if my body parts are still decent and I can save a kid or anybody, then at least that's my personal decision. But,
absolutely. All right, so let's see here. We do have a few more questions now. I'm going to bring Maurice on, because we want to do a giveaway of your book. We absolutely have to, right? But we do have a question. Let's see here. So Derek says, how much does the mass use of high fructose corn syrup contribute to the prevalence in Black America? Is it second to alcohol? Wow.
Well, I can't rank them, first and second, it's like pick your poison. But again, as I said earlier, anything that ends in os is code for sugar. And the more concentrated a sugar is, it's just like shooting it in your vein, so some things release slower. Not all carbohydrates are bad, which, there are only three types of food: carbs, proteins, and fats. They have different names like potato chips, candy, steak, fish, but anything that's sugar is just release. It's like a quick energy, like just like, yeah, I'm tired. I need something quick. But in America, we've gotten so I don't know, unconscious with our eating that we just eat things when we don't even need energy, and so you're just storing all of this. And again, a lot of people are fine with it, but as far as the diabetic crowd goes, it's like your body stops producing insulin, and then it's just like, okay, now it's back to the kidneys trying to filter all this filthy blood.
Absolutely.
So ranking them, would you like to be killed by a bullet or a knife? I don't know. I don't have a
I definitely see that correlation. Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Maurice on, Music Man on, and we're going to do a quick true false question, because we'll go over a little bit tonight, but this is worth it. With shows like this, when we go a little bit over, that's okay. That's all right. Look, my appetite can wait. Music Man.
Hey, how's it going, Lisa, Uncle Larry? How you guys doing tonight? Great show, by the way. Thanks for inviting me into this great conversation. I just want to publicly say, I hope this goes viral, first and foremost, because this is great information. And the two people I'm looking on the screen, I don't mean to bring tears to anybody, but you two saved my life. Uncle Larry, been pivotal in my journey in health and staying in the gym, and you, Lisa, with the information you've given me, like, you guys saved my life. And I just want to tell you that I appreciate you both. And I don't mean to bring anybody to tears. 3 years ago, going through the journey, meeting you, Lisa, and Uncle Larry going through his situation. I actually lost 70 pounds, and and you guys have saved my life, with, your holistic, practices, and, Uncle Larry, seeing him through his journey, and I've been, with him through his journey, in the dark seasons, and, you guys literally, with the help of God have saved my life. So I appreciate you both, for saving my life. And so, people wonder why I go hard in the gym, just knowing, the love that you guys are giving me, and, the tips. And so I'm just grateful for you all too. So, but I won't try to make anybody cry on the show. But anyway, I just wanted to let you guys go.
I know you make my mascara run. Okay. Okay. So this is what we'll do for a chance to win the book. Let me just, there's the book right there. Hold it up. You got turn it around so they can see the picture. Like the picture on the back. Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah. So this is the picture on the back as well. So
absolutely.
That's the hero right there, my cousin McCoy. So he shout out to McCoy. He's the real superhero in this story. So amazing. So shout out to him. But yeah, Are You Kidding Me? Available
I love it.
On Amazon, and we'll put the link in the chat and in the group. But great book.
Absolutely. All right, so let's see here. Let's do a true false right here, and whoever is the first to answer correctly, we'll give them the chance to. They'll be the winner of the book. Is that cool? Y'all good with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great.
All right. So this true false question, I will bring it on the screen. All right, boom, there we go. So true or false, kidney disease can always be detected through pain and discomfort. Is that true or false? So don't y'all answer it. Y'all can't win the book.
I already got my copy. I got my copy. Absolutely.
All right, so where y'all at? Where y'all at? Where y'all at? Okay. All right. False. Okay, we got a couple answers. Okay. All right. So will there be another? All right. Okay. So the answer is false. Somebody says I need to grab some. Absolutely, you need to grab some copies. So the answer is false. Most patients have no symptoms until the disease is advanced.
That's right. And I want to, if I can mention this, Lisa, which we didn't quite get to, like kidney disease is basically, there are 5 stages.
Okay.
When your kidneys are functioning at, and they use percentages because it's simpler to understand. When your kidneys are functioning at 90% or above, that's stage 1. You're fine. You're healthy. You're like a kid. The next stage is when your kidneys are functioning anywhere between 60 and 89%. That's stage 2. You're still good. You don't feel anything. You're feeling fine. The next stage, which is stage 3, that's 45 to 30. But they break that up in 2 parts. But that's when you start to kind of feel it a little bit. Like you may be urinating more at night. You may, have a little swelling or things like that. But stage 4, that's when your kidneys operate anywhere between 15 and 29%. And then end stage disease is 15% or less. You need dialysis or a kidney transplant or you're going to die. So yeah, those early stages, just to underscore the true false question, is like you don't feel anything. Like when your kidneys are functioning at 50%, you don't really miss a beat. As I tell the people that I talk to all the time, you don't realize you're sick until you get well. I thought I was fine. I just came back from a wonderful Caribbean vacation. I'm thinking I'm good, and I'm still operating. I'm only operating at 10% at that point.
Absolutely.
But now that I'm well again, or I'm even with this, I'm not back to 100%, but I'm at 60%. I feel like I'm 40 years old again.
All right. That's
yeah.
So yeah, but anyway, that's what
I remember actually talking to a doctor a while ago, and it's something how your body adjusts to whatever your condition is. Like even like individuals say with COPD or whatever, like their body actually adjusts to the oxygen levels that their lungs are allowing them to like have, for lack of a better term. So yeah, that's amazing how the body does that. Like you think you all right, but it's just because your body has learned to adjust to, its function, if you will.
Absolutely. And Uncle Larry, because we kind of talked about this, because there's a large group, she has a lot of followers on Facebook. Can you talk about a little bit about how it affects men's health? Because we discussed that, on a side note. I mean, that's really important to know as well.
Yeah. I guess this is a relationship soup, so anything can be thrown into a soup. But well, diabetes and high blood pressure are main factors in erectile dysfunction. Because really erectile dysfunction is really heart problems. Because again, your heart is the pump. And you have to pump this blood to your male organ to, be able to perform sexually. So, yeah. So all of these things, again, diabetes being the number 1 cause for kidney failure, followed by high blood pressure. Those 2 things, like those are early signs. Again, you don't know that you have these signs. You just know, or you don't know what these signs mean. But you're just saying, okay, well, I'm not 25 anymore, so. Things are slowing down. I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm good once as I ever was, to coin the phrase from old song. But those are signs that things are slowing down. Those blood vessels aren't flowing as fast as they used to. And so you can mask it by taking certain medicines, but that's not, that's not really the cure. So yeah, I would say that. I mean, that's just from the sexual point of view. But yeah, men's health, women's health, everybody really dies from a heart attack or your heart stops. It's just like what particular ailment did that. And so again, if you're filling your heart with dirty blood because your kidneys don't work, your heart's going to stop working. If you fill your heart with cancer, then your heart's going to stop working. If your brain shuts off like an Alzheimer's and tells your heart to stop pumping, you died from your heart not pumping. So it's all connected, you know. So I wouldn't just say like, oh, I had a good night because I took a magic pill. I would say, pay attention, get back in the gym, watch what you're eating, you know, try to live, you know, try to be at a healthy weight for both men and women, you know.
Absolutely.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so this is what I want to do. I want to go ahead and announce the winner as per the chat. Okay, so it looks like, is that I am Nikki F? Is that who that is? She actually answered first. She showed up in the chat first. Awesome. So Nikki, if you could just stay at, okay, let me see here. I want to have you come into the studio and get your information, and then, you know, we'll go ahead and we'll get the book to you. Okay, so I will repost that link. And so get in the studio so we can get your information. Cool. All right. So congratulations, Nikki. All right. So Maurice, I'm going to go ahead and take you off the stage. Thanks so much. I really appreciate you joining me. Stick around so we can get information, get that book to her. All right. So Larry, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate you. It's so much gratitude. I pray that this episode will plant seeds and, you know, save somebody's life, you know. So, and I definitely wish you a blessed journey, love and light, you know, on your path. Is there anything that you want to end with?
Well, I would say, first of all, Lisa, thanks for having me on to, you know, to spread this word, this message. This is a personal experience. I'm not selling anything. I'm not doing this for any kind of, as I often say when I'm talking to folks, you know, I'm doing this for, I work for a cause, not applause. I just think that there's so many of us that are blindsided and with negligent health information. And so I'm not talking about what I heard. This is something I've actually experienced, and I want to spread that word to everybody I can. And I also would like to say that, you know, we're in this quote unquote Thanksgiving season, a couple of weeks next week. But I would say really take that to heart. It really is a blessing that you're still alive.
Absolutely.
Any kind of petty arguments you have with your family members, or don't get sucked into arguing about politics or things like that. It's later than you think.
Absolutely.
Love somebody.
Absolutely.
Help somebody. All right, I'm off my soapbox. And
thank you so much, Larry. I appreciate you, and I'm totally with you on that. Like, life is fleeting.
Yeah.
Don't sweat that small stuff. Love while you can. Like, absolutely. Okay, well, I'm going to take you off of here for a little bit. I'm going to wrap it up with the crew. And Nikki F, if that's who that is, I put the link in the chat. So please click on that if you want this prize, okay? If you don't end up logging in to the studio, definitely inbox me, reach out to myself, or just reach out to me on Facebook, okay? And we can get that book to you. All right, so Larry, I'm going to take you off of here, okay?
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, listen. Y'all heard it here. So, you know, like I said, you know, not to be repetitive, I pray that this episode resonates. I pray that it plants really positive seeds, because I mean, our health is so important. And, you know, when you're young, you're not really thinking about what you're doing, but everything that you do, it's going to show up on your body one way or another. So, you know, definitely you want to take those measures to look after your health and stuff like that. And the truth of the matter is, and I ain't gonna go on the soapbox too much because now y'all know I'm hungry, right? I've been drinking this lemon water. Yeah, this is lemon water all night. So now I'm hungry, right? But anyway, you know, just even with our food and all of that now, you just have to take extra care, right? Just take extra care. That's all I can say about that. So this is what I want to do. Let me go ahead and put this affirmation out there. Okay. Y'all know I like to do an affirmation every episode. You know, that's really so important. And I see y'all comments. I really appreciate you all with your comments and stuff like that. All right. So let me go ahead and bring this affirmation on. Okay. It's going to divide it up. Okay. Because this affirmation is kind of long. but I will read it. So this affirmation for today is, I'm aligned with divine health, timing, and divine protection. Every cell in my body responds to the perfect pattern of wholeness. I walk in courage, I live in gratitude, and I'm guided by infinite love. What is mine by divine right can never be taken from me, and perfect health flows through me now. I'm claiming that. Perfect health. You hear me? All right. So again, thank y'all so much for joining me tonight. Y'all know I got to do my spiel before we get out of here. Shout out. Let me do my shout outs and I'll do my spiel and we're going to get out of here. Shout out to my mama, Larry, Music Man, Brian, I see you in the studio, Lyric, the Grishams, Aunt Anna, viewers, right? My mama was on me. She said, you going live this week? Yeah, Mom, I'm going live. See, my mom went live. I did it. Right. So anyway, if this episode resonated with you, please make sure that you're liking, subscribing across all platforms. We on TikTok. It's Relationship Soup. Go ahead, follow us on there. We're going to be posting content on there, okay? If you want to follow it, subscribe to YouTube. It's Relationship Soup, period. If you want to join the forum, man, we still thousands and thousands strong. It's Relationship Soup Group. If you want to follow me, it's RelationshipSoupLLC. And don't forget them greeting cards, okay? It's RelationshipSoup.com, all right? So again, it starts with you. You got to love yourself. And different ways that you love yourself is even what you put in your body, you know, what you do to regulate your nervous system, what you do to your mental, how you love, how you forgive. All of that is part of loving yourself. And Larry did make an excellent point. It's the holidays, right? And, you know, during the holidays, a lot surfaces, right? Forgive, love while you can, because life is fleeting. We don't never know. I thought I would have my daddy a little longer, but it wasn't meant. You don't know when you're going to take your last breath. So reach out to your people. Do all of that, right? All right. So let me go ahead and get out of here, y'all, because y'all already know. I'll be so surprised that y'all don't be hearing my stomach growl because I'll be so hungry on a Tuesday. But anyway, until we meet next time, y'all, the next episode is going to be a chef's kiss. And I cannot wait, Lord willing, to see y'all again. So until we meet next time, peace.